Okay, boys, welcome back to LJG Sports. So it's been rumored the past couple of days that the Texans were going to sign Nick Chubb, and it is official now. Nick Chubb, the free agent running back, has signed with the Houston Texans. 29-year-old former Brown star. He's had a couple of bad injuries over the past couple of years, and I don't know if it's officially that he's signed now or it's a done deal pending physical. I do know that. So the reported deal is 1 year, $2.5 million deal that could be worth up to $5 million. And my initial reaction to this, well, there's a couple of things that are domino effect because of this. And there's also some other stories in this story, like how good is this Texans team now, adding another potential elite level player in Nick Chubb, who was really good, and who knows how good he'll be with the injuries that he suffered in the past couple of years. But you're getting a proven talent already when you already have Joe Mixon. You have Dameon Pierce, who was really good in his rookie year. You added Woody Marks this offseason. You have Daryl Gumbawale. And just adding all these guys like Christian Kirk, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel. How good is this Texans team going to be next year? Nick Haley, new offensive coordinator. So first, let's just get off his fit with this team. Obviously, Joe Mixon is the guy in Houston. So I think that will still be the case. Nick Chubb will, I think, clearly be the number 2 now, assuming he can get somewhat back to form, unless, obviously, the injuries were really bad and he just can never get back to that form, which would be heartbreaking for him and for Houston Texans fans. But I expect him to be pretty good, especially pending with the physical. I do think Nick Chubb will be ready for next year. So, initial reaction, just great backfield now. Great 1-2 punch. Last year, we really didn't have that 1-2 punch. We were hoping Dameon Pierce would fill that void for that number 2 punch. But Joe Mixon basically carried the load all season long. And when he had bad games, Texans would generally lose. So, it's, I think, really important to get someone like Nick Chubb. And I think that's a really good pickup for the Texans. Him and Joe Mixon. Scary backfield. It will be all of a question of if the line can create blocks and lanes for them to run through. But great pickup. I didn't even know he was a free agent, and I don't know why he lasted this long. I guess because of injuries, because he's getting a little older in age. And just the running back market and how running backs are not valued as much as they once were. I would assume that's why he hasn't been signed yet. But great pickup for the Texans. Obviously, we'll see how it goes. But Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon backfield, I'm telling you, it can be really good. So with that being said, there are some things I want to go over, which are kind of negative. Because obviously the positive is, how good is this Texans team? Now, it's really a question of how the offensive line can perform. Again, if they can be just middle, bang average, middle of the pack offensive line, I think that would be a huge improvement. Considering what this group was last year, and considering we lost Larry Tunsil, we lost Shaq Mason, Kenyon Green, basically did a whole overhaul on the offensive line. Middle of the pack, average offensive line room would be sound, and the Texans would, I'm sure, take it. With that being said, there are 2 negative things that I've seen reports on from this, and just what I've thought of initially. The first thing I thought initially was, and I just made a video about this recently, Dameon Pierce has no future with this team now. Like, if it wasn't already cemented that he's not getting reps, then this does. And the thing was, he was reported that he was taking the first team reps because Joe Mixon had the injury, because of offseason surgery, I believe. And so he wasn't playing through OTAs. Dameon Pierce was taking the reps as running back 1. And that, we thought it was a good sign. But now looking at this, we have Nick Chubb, we have Joe Mixon. And the thing is, Dameon Pierce didn't really get touches last year when Nick Chubb wasn't on the team. So no way in hell he's getting touches this year. And it's just sad to see. At this point, do I think the Texans will trade him? Maybe. But at this point, it may be too late, and they're just going to roll with it. In case Nick Chubb or Joe Mixon does suffer an injury, they want that guy in there who knows the scheme, who knows what Nick Haley's trying to run. But yeah, I feel bad for Dameon Pierce because in those couple years where we didn't have Deshaun anymore, and before we got C.J. Stroud, it was a rough couple of years. Tyrod Taylor playing quarterback, Davis Mills. Dameon Pierce in those couple seasons was one of the bright spots. His rookie year, he was a fun running back to watch, a bruising, hard-nosed running back who would run over multiple people before getting tackled. And it just sucks. He seems like a great guy, great teammate to have. And it just sucks to see him go from that in his rookie year to not being able to really adjust to the zone blocking scheme of Bobby Slowick. And then with Joe Mixon coming in, just completely getting pushed out the rotation. So maybe Nick Haley's offensive scheme will be a little different. Maybe he'll pick it up a little better. Maybe he'll get some reps. But again, between Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, and Daryl Gumbawale, who would take a lot of the third down and log plays because of his ability to pass catch. And throw in the fact that Joe Mixon does that well too. So I really don't see Dameon Pierce getting any time at this point on this team, which just sucks because I think most Texans fans liked Dameon Pierce, and it's just unfortunate to see him not get the playing time. I kind of hope for him to get traded just so he can get another chance to flourish somewhere else. That was my first initial reaction. And then there was a report I saw, which this is the negative part, that I don't want to talk about because I don't generally like talking about, negativity about anything about this team or whatever. Try to keep it positive, high spirits. But there was a report coming out that it's possible that the Texans really signed Nick Chubb because of an injury with Joe Mixon that maybe we don't know about or maybe we know about, but the Texans are hiding the severity of it. And so I don't think there's too much merit to this, honestly. But between that and the whole Texans keeping the C.J. Stroud thing quieter than what it really is, not giving up or letting on how serious it is, it's we hope that's not the case. C.J. Stroud is very crucial to this team. Obviously, last year he kind of had a quote-unquote sophomore slump, but you really hope. You saw flashes in his rookie year, enough flashes to know that he can be really something special, whether it's to get his confidence back or just for the O-line to protect him. Maybe the new offensive coordinator was needed. There was reports that him and Bobby Slowick had a big argument. So that's one thing. And then if Joe Mixon is not healthy either, again, most games last year, if Joe Mixon did not have a good game, the Texans would lose. Almost every game we won, Joe Mixon had a really good game. So a balanced attack is very crucial for this Texans' success. The defense, we know what the defense is doing, especially adding C.J. Gardner-Johnson, all those guys, extending Stingley, extending Petrie. We know what that defense brings. Tough defense and a really good defense. So as long as they do their thing, it's going to be up to the offense, Nick Haley, C.J. Stroud, offensive line, and co. to see what they can do. But after all that negativity, those two little things that I thought were interesting, hopefully not noteworthy. Nick Chubb is a Texan, and I'm really excited to see him play on this team, to see him and Joe Mixon kind of be the lightning and thunder on this team. Let me know down below who's more of a lightning and thunder between them. I know Joe Mixon is kind of both. He's a very shifty running back, but he also is pretty physical and can go through multiple guys before getting tackled. I think Nick Chubb is kind of the same way, maybe a little more on the bruising side, but let me know down below if you do know. Let me know what you agree with, disagree with. Are you excited as a Texan fan to see Nick Chubb on the Texans? And what does this mean for Dameon Pierce? Do you think the Texans will trade him? Do you think the Texans will just keep him on the roster? Do you think he will get some reps, even though we just signed Nick Chubb? Let me know down below.